Friday, March 17th, and it must be time for another legislative update from your North Carolina Medical Society. We've got a lot to cover, as we always seem to have these days. First, starting off at the federal level, you've seen the bill running through the U.S. House up in Congress, and there have been two very important presentations to the Oversight Committee for Appropriations on Health and Human Services at the North Carolina General Assembly this week. One was done by the Department of Health and Human Services, and one was done by Physical Research. Both of those discuss the anticipated impact on North Carolina of the new American Health Care Act. So we would encourage you to look at those, be aware of what the discussion is. Because the bill is not in its final form, we can't, of course, say that these are actually things that are going to happen, but I think you see a diverse range of what could happen there, so we think those are good resources for you to review. On the scope of practice front, that's one of the things that we're facing most prominently right now in the North Carolina General Assembly. Two major bills that we've been talking to you about. First of all, the effort by optometrists to do surgery for the first time in North Carolina. We continue to oppose that. You are reaching out to your constituents, as constituents, to your legislators and doing a great job of touching base with them and making sure they know you're concerned. We've also had doctors in the building every day this week talking to legislators, which has been great. We want to keep that going and keep the pressure on that bill. But as we know right now, there's not any activity. We don't expect that in committee, at least next week as of right now. The nurse bill, though, the nurse bill was heard this week in House Health. That bill would open up all advanced practice registered nurses to practice without the supervision of a physician for the first time in North Carolina. We had an anesthesiologist speak, a family doctor speak, and Dr. Bill Farrell, the legislative cabinet chair for the North Carolina Medical Society, spoke as well. I thought that went well. We need you to continue to talk to your legislators, whether they're on the House Health Committee or other committees in the House, to make sure that they are aware that you're opposed to this bill. We've had more members use the action alert on this bill than on any bill ever. And so we want to make sure that we keep that pressure on, that we keep those communications going, because that constituent to legislator conversation is a very important one, and we're using that as your lobbying team on a daily basis down at the building. The last thing I want to give you a quick highlight on is the opioid bill, the STOP Act. We are making great progress with the sponsors as well as the Attorney General to make sure that is operationalized in a way that actually works, that works for your practice and your patients, as well as for the goal of eliminating or at least dramatically reducing the number of opioids that are out on the streets in North Carolina. We think that bill might come up either next Wednesday or the Wednesday after. We're not sure yet, but as soon as we get a proposed committee substitute, because they have assured us that there are going to be changes, we'll be updating you on those areas of concern that you've had and that we've written about in our legislative blog. As we've mentioned over the last few weeks, you can always go every day to our legislative blog and see what's going on. We're trying to keep that updated, but there are lots and lots of bills that are being introduced on a pretty fast pace right now, so be patient with us as we get all those up. And as always, we look forward to talking to you more next week. All right, have a good one.